Hello and welcome to Item Box. Now, pretty much since the beginning of video games, there have been video game soundtracks, some of them as iconic and memorable as the games themselves. And as a result, whittling down the history of video game soundtracks into just one favorite pick is an almost impossible task. But that's what I asked the rest of the Item Box crew to do, and they worked together to give you their list of the top video game soundtracks of all time. And boy, am I glad I didn't have to make my own pick. But no, Cindy. I don't have to make my own pick. I'm the host. The host doesn't have to make their own pick. Right? Cindy, I give you an opportunity to fess up. You playing a prank on me? Or are you telling the truth? You could just give me 1 second. I gotta do a thing.
So let me get this straight. You want me, a music-obsessed gamer and musician, to choose one soundtrack to be my all-time favorite. Are you trying to hurt me? But in all seriousness, if I have to choose one soundtrack to represent what I like to hear most in game music, I have to go with Bayonetta. I reviewed this game on my channel last year, and I made sure to mention the soundtrack because it's one that didn't just grab my attention, but it stuck with me. The huge amounts of variation in it alone are just staggering, with everything from modernized arrangements to traditional pop standards, to misty, swelling choral pieces, to menacing piano interludes that remind you that there is trouble a-brewing and you had best stay on your toes. What's most amazing about this soundtrack for me is how at times it seamlessly blends into the action of gameplay, while at others is so singular and unique that it's kind of distracting. It's a soundtrack that almost literally has everything, and yet maintains the kind of consistency that other games can only dream of. For a game as ambitious as Bayonetta, the composers certainly had their work cut out for them, and boy did they pull it off. I don't think I will ever forget my first time arriving at Paradiso, an experience that is, in of itself, mind-bendingly awesome, but also serves as the perfect example of how a gaming experience can be enhanced, if not all around enabled, by the music that accompanies it.
When it comes to game soundtracks, it's hard not to talk about Mega Man. You see, the NES Mega Man series has some of the best video game tracks in video game music history. Of course, it also helps that they're like my favorite games. So, when I say that Portal 2 is actually my favorite video game soundtrack, please take me seriously. The music in Portal 2 is very science-y and kind of industrial, and it fits the mood of the game perfectly. Some of the tracks are dark and eerie, and others are silly and bouncy. It goes so well with the darkly comedic vibe that Portal 2 carries. Yes, it's true that the main instrumental soundtrack is fabulous, but the tracks with lyrics are, well, near perfection, if not perfect. There are three. Cara Miadio, I think is how you pronounce it, is a brilliant and operatic goodbye to Chell. Want You Gone is the ending track by GLaDOS, and it is a superb song. In my opinion, better than Still Alive from Portal 1.
Well, here we are again. It's always such a pleasure. Remember when you tried to kill me twice?
And then there's Exile Vilify.
Exile, it takes your mind.
This song speaks to the reality of the loneliness that Ratman and Chell would feel in the walls of Aperture. Oh, and it also helps the soundtrack's case that the whole thing is free!
Oh shit, I just spoiled it, didn't I? So, if you couldn't tell, my favorite soundtrack of all time belongs to the beloved Bear and Bird theme platformer Banjo Kazooie. Every song is just so darn catchy. You'll be running around Spiral Mountain, beating up carrots and cauliflower, And all of a sudden you'll notice your toe starts tapping and your head starts bobbing, and before you know it, you've got the song stuck in your head all day and you catch yourself searching online for a banjo instructor. My favorite thing about this soundtrack is how each song is able to fit its level perfectly while still retaining that kind of down home, old country, banjo plucking, washtub bass with old man Jeb on the jug kind of feel. And it's that old country feel that really gives each track a sort of simplicity that just makes it that much easier to hum along with. But of course, none of this is even possible without the work of a highly talented composer. Grant Kirkhope, the man behind the music in this game, is an absolute legend. It's upbeat, it's fun, it's catchy, it's Banjo Kazooie, and it's my all-time favorite soundtrack.
Y'all knew this was coming! Donkey Kong Country 2 has the best soundtrack of all!
Yo, Perry, what's up? You're gonna talk about Donkey Kong Country 2 for Connor's music video, right?
Duh!
Then, in the interest of hype, I present to you Jolly and Perry's top 6 Donkey Kong Country 2 songs.
Wait, haven't we done something like this before?
No.
Coming in at number 6, it is Snakey Chancy. Yo, every single time I hear the beginning of this track, it just fills me to the brim with hype. It's also the first level featuring Rattly the Rattlesnake, one of the best animal buddies. This track is really fun, fast, and somewhat piratey. It's sweet.
Donkey Kong Country 2 starts off where Donkey Kong Country 1 left off, a pirate ship. And nothing says sea-sailing, swashbuckling adventure like Jib Jig from the level Main Brace Mayhem. You can hear the wind blowing, the creaks creaking as you ascend higher up the ship's netting. It really gives off a piratey, explory, uplifting kind of feeling that leaves an impression from early on in your adventure.
At number 4, it's Cannon's Claim. KK is a song that I'll always be on in my heart. The first time I ever heard the song, it was in the level of the exact same name, and I knew I would never forget it. The song is pretty different from most of the tracks in DKC2's soundtrack in that it feels more industrial. I kinda like that.
When thinking of levels that invoke strong emotions in the player, the Lockjaw levels were some of the most intense that Donkey Kong Country 2 had to offer, and the song Lockjaw's Saga captured that feeling perfectly. The fast pace and dicey violins created the unsettling feeling of anxiety, with a lower bass tone that gave off a sense of impending doom. The level design and music really supported each other, and it made having to escape being trapped with a man-eating fish that much more terrifying.
At number 2, it's Forest Interlude. This song plays in the gloomy Gulch world. Despite being a slower paced song, there's something very alluring to it. Forest Interlude plays in Gusty Glade and Webb Woods. Both levels invoke that feeling of being lost in a forest. Forest Interlude adds the sensation of exploration with a gentle wind of mystery.
And finally, the obligatory Sticker Brush Symphony pick. Donkey Kong Country 2 was a game that aspired to challenge fans of platforming, and it wasn't afraid to pull its punches when it came to difficulty. The Bramble levels were no exception, and created some of the most tense live-or-die moments. The player had to navigate through the spiny labyrinths in the sky by timing jumps, barrel blasts, and even weaving through as a bird. The music playing in the background not only gave off a mystical feeling to these vines in the sky, but it also calmed the player down so that they could focus on precision movement without getting frustrated. It's a beautiful song that, to this day, many Donkey Kong Country 2 fans will always remember.
Come on, Happy. Are you really just gonna be the Zelda guy for the rest of your life? Pick something else. You can't just pick Zelda for everything.
I can't do it!
My choice for the best soundtrack is Majora's Mask. I recently did a video on this game, and while playing it, I realized just how much I absolutely love the music in this game. If you've ever played it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Starting in day 1 in Clocktown, the happy music slowly turns more and more ominous and dark as the days go by, making you feel rushed and anxious. The Song of Healing alone is one of the most depressingly beautiful songs that I've ever heard that reoccurs throughout the game, setting the dark tone that we all know and love. Or at least I do. As surprising as this may sound, my love for this game and its soundtrack isn't nostalgia based. While I know all the songs, I don't like them because I knew them as a kid. The songs just draw me in every single time I play the game, and not enough games do that anymore. The music in this game just creates an atmosphere that I haven't felt since. So in other words, I like Majora's Mask.
While the Touhou series has many great soundtracks, my favorite of the bunch has to be Subterranean Animism. From the sad emotional Last Remote to the loud angry nuclear fusion, every song is memorable and well composed.
So many games. So many soundtracks. Which one do I choose? Which one do I choose? Wait. I know what I'm picking. Katamari Damacy has the best soundtrack of all time. Its simple Zen-like gameplay and defined level timers means it has the freedom to have truly imaginative, catchy, evocative music, and it uses that freedom in the best possible way. Every sound in the game is full of character and emotion, from the can-do spirit of "You Are Smart" to the bittersweet nostalgia of Cherry Blossom Color Season, to the exuberance of Katamari on the Rocks. It all comes together to create an incredibly peppy atmosphere, and every song enforces that in its own unique way. The result, the best game soundtrack of all time, ever. So Cindy, how do you think I did? Too much hyperbole? Dang it.
Hi, my name's Nathan. Unlike these other bozos in Item Box, I play music and, more importantly, understand music theory. That's why I'm here today to talk to you about The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim, and why it has the best game soundtrack of all time. Jeremy Soule's fusion of ambience and classical music complements the game's vast, beautiful world, creating a sense of not only openness and expanse, but serenity and beauty as well. This is truly exemplified in the piece Secunda. Played only at night, Secunda utilises the gentle sounds of pianos and plucked violins playing staccato notes, and semitonal chordal leaps in its main melody to embody night's beauty and one's inner harmony that can be found in the serene darkness, simultaneously creating a contrasting link between the pleasant major scale and the dissonance of the root note and leading note chords, which both in turn represent night's peaceful yet also frightening nature. And that is why Soule's compositional works on The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim lead it to having the best game soundtrack of all time. Wait, what was that? Oh, you didn't understand any of that. Okay. It's very pretty.
Let me give you a little bit of a personal history lesson about myself. I love Earthbound. I remember playing it fondly as a kid, and to this day, it's still a game I could pick up and play. One of the many reasons why I love this game is because of how amazing the soundtrack is that accompanies it. There's a lot of variety contained within the game. You have your standard battle fare, your walking around music, character themes, dungeon tunes, there's just so much different stuff to hear. Oh, and Johnny Be Good. But some of the music gives off a wacky but colorful vibe, which perfectly describes Earthbound as a game, because it wasn't trying to take itself too seriously. So much so that they tried to advertise the game with a scratch and sniff advertisement in magazines that created a foul odor. Songs like the Song Shop theme or Hi 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 from Saturn Valley easily produce a lighthearted experience going straight to your ears from beginning to end. But I think as a person who's always appreciated the more sentimental moments in music, I've always had a fondness for the more softer and melodic tunes that finish the soundtrack. Songs like You've Come Far, Ness, Buzz Buzz's Prophecy, and most importantly the song that's a common motif, 8 Melodies. 8 Melodies has variations you'll hear throughout the entire game, and it all eventually boils down to a point that's just so beautiful and ravishing. As someone who's played quite a few games in his day, this is definitely one of the most definable moments in gaming that I can remember, and part of that is due to the all-around magnificence of Earthbound's soundtrack. But I can't forget about Throwaway 5, they're pretty cool.